The Earth is a spinning ball. Science already decided that way before they proved it, so get on board. Get with your programming. What's wrong with you?
But we're here now to completely reverse this, and people hate on us from the left and from the right. Everyone hates on us. Well, shut up with your flat earth stuff. It's not important. It's the most important thing. It opens the door for everything else. You want to know the truth? You have to know where you live.
An entire magnetic mass or a mountain that is strong enough to make everybody's compass point north.
When I was a kid in school, they showed us a National Geographic video of the guys getting to the North Pole, and they just basically made it look so horrible and miserable and dark and cold that no kid ever in his life would go, hey, I want to go to the North Pole.
So if you watch any documentary about the North Pole or anybody venturing to the North Pole, all you're gonna find is some dude mobbing on an ice sheet, and he's got a little device in his hand. He's like, 3, 2, 1, North Pole. And
so after the flood, we have these large bodies of water, these lakes that are trapped.
There's evidence of the big lake in the Painted Desert, a place called Hopi Buttes, about 500 cubic miles of water in this huge lake.
And so the dam breaks, and all of that massive amount of water then is now pouring out and carving this.
Yes, and how long would it take to erode Grand Canyon? Maybe weeks, but not millions of years. Time is not a magic wand that solves all the geologic problems of the world. Jettison that way of thinking about millions of years and then start thinking about catastrophic process like you've seen at Mount St. Helens, and that'll help.
Every day there should be different stars, random stars in the sky if we are traveling at 650 million miles an hour, which is Mach 870,000. Do you really believe that every year we move through space at 5.5 trillion miles every year, and yet every year the same stars keep turning over our Earth? Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces, year after year after year, and yet none of those constellations distort, change shape, get brighter.
If you think we landed on the moon, don't get me wrong, I'm going to the moon. Guys, I'm going to the moon. But if you trust NASA's official story that in 1969 we had technology that we no longer possess, and that technology and all the proof they want was destroyed, but fortunately we have video footage that you can break apart and show that none of it's possible, and they landed on what appears to be Jordan Peterson's meth-induced tree fort. Okay, if all that makes sense to you, you have a mental handicap. You should be able to park in a handicapped spot. People should hold the door for you. You should wear a helmet because you might just pass out sometimes. No, I'm going to the moon, guys. I'm dead serious. America will be great again. It will. I don't understand why people think that they can't fake something that great again. Look at what America tries to fake these days. It's pathetic. Back in the day, when America was great, we faked a moon landing. Do you understand the grit, the determination it takes to convince the world that you went to the moon? I have that grit. I have that determination. I will walk on that moon vaguely. I assume people understand what I'm doing with this, but people don't. So I have to tell people, here's a wing. Hey, welcome to Tea Time with Gary and Terry. Why is Owen's face getting all weird? Where's the tea? Ugh. Base baby, we're going back. And I will play golf on that lonely rock in the sky. Do you understand how... And this is the thing, people treat me like I'm stupid because I'm so smart. I'm going to clip that and put it in my fun documentary making fun of Owen Benjamin. The equation of lumens and light and how bright something is very, very obvious. So with half the day, if you go If you double the distance away, it does a fracture, it square roots the lumens. So if they say what the moon is, like how bright the moon is at 240,000 miles away, it would be like trillions of lumens. Like it would literally fry your eyes. Like you wouldn't, it would be so bright that your entire nervous system would break down. Okay, so all this science is real. There's science. Science is real. There is physics. There's laws of physics. So if you have a light bulb, if you have the distance, it goes up exponentially in brightness, and you measure it in something called a lumen. So if you go away, if you double the distance away from a light bulb, its brightness is a square root. So you guys get it. So 16 lumens would be 4 lumens, right? And then it just keeps going, square root of 4. So the farther away from an object, that's why if you have a light bulb and you're right here, it's extremely bright, pretty bright, you know, you guys get it. If something's 240,000 miles away and it has that many lumens that you can measure, if you stood on that, it would be like 1 trillion lumens, and it would fry your brain. Like every single equation that you do shows you that the baby boomers may be the stupidest people that have ever lived. I'm not judging. Half the distance quadruples the lumens. Exactly. Okay, so now 240. There's a lot of smart people here. Just do the math, guys. This is why engineering is crumbling. Because engineers had to take classes about why jet fuel melts steel beams. Engineers have to take classes about how we went to the moon. When just the equation of lumens, so it promotes people that are so brain dead or they accept lies that they go, if it's that bright, like you can measure the lumens of a full moon, you can read a book under a full moon, there's lumens there, right? And so that's allegedly 240,000 miles away. So if it quadruples with every half distance, how does that work? So this is why Texas has no power. This is why these places have no supply chains. Because the higher up you go in this satanic pyramid, and the more lies get spun and thrown out into the masses, the more the expert engineer has to believe that the only 4 times in human history that a steel frame building just collapsed in free fall speed was because of a fire, but with jet fuel. You understand how preposterous that is? And I don't care, 7-Eleven was a part-time job. I get it. Much love, believe what you want. I'm not here to be that guy. I'm here to talk about tea. Green tea's great. Chamomile tea's great. But the reason engineers are just not effective anymore. My wife has her master's degree from USC in structural engineering. She had a whole class in how the buildings fell on 7-Eleven was a part-time job. Okay. It's never before been witnessed, ever, that a steel frame building falls like that. It's not possible to fall like that, okay? Never, there's no other example of it in history. Building 7, without any plane just fell. Like it was a Jenga. Like it was just like, and not like part of it fell over and it was distorted and leaning tower, but just top down, just full demolition, vaporization of matter. There's no example of that ever. And I don't care about that. Believe whatever you want. Whatever puts your little baby boomer head to bed, okay? The engineers now have to be taught lies. And so then they're like, okay, let's keep the supply chains going. Let's design a windmill that doesn't freeze when it's 0 degrees. And they're like, okay, operating on nonsense thought, this is how you do it. And now Texas people have been without power, food, water for over a week. There's going to be a lot of death. A lot of death. There's already a lot of death. 300,000 lumen flashlight would burn your skin. Right, and on the surface of the moon, while these people were playing golf, it was probably, can someone do the math? Figure out how many lumens a full moon has. Then, figure out that with using the distance, how many lumens it would be on the surface of the moon. What the brightness would be. And no, the physics doesn't change when you're dealing with the moon. That's another reason that the space thing is fake, is because light is transferred in waves, right? Everybody knows you got gamma, radio waves, infrared waves, ultraviolet, visual light spectrum, right? Okay, and then some child, like the emperor with no clothes, says, then how does light travel through a vacuum? Because as we all know, children, like little children can figure this out. as we all know, space has no medium. What do you mean space has no medium? I thought it's a vacuum. Of course it's a vacuum. So why do you need a medium to have a wave? Because just like in water, the wave needs the water to ripple. That's how the energy transfers. And then they went, I would at first kill that kid. Second, develop particle theory. But if we said it's a wave, everyone can calculate that it's a wave. You do frequency, it's clearly a wave, press, drop. It's also a particle. Why does it have to be a particle? Or else we're wrong. If it isn't also a particle, it means we're wrong. And one of the tenets of modern science is that we're not wrong. No matter what everybody says. This is how it all happens, guys. This is why they believe in dark energy and dark matter. It's because none of the calculations work based on their nonsense theory of gravity. So what they do, they say, well, 90% of the universe is dark matter. What does that mean? You can't see it. You can't calculate with it. You can't feel it. Can't measure it. Nothing. It's completely invisible. But so then how do you know it exists? Because without it, our equations would be wrong. And gravity wouldn't be what we say it is. That's your only evidence for dark matter? Yes. Guys, I used to host a physics podcast at Caltech. I get it. I'm a wacky comedian and an addict, but I'm a very smart person. Dark matter was invented just to justify their equations when they were presented that they were wrong. Because communists, Satanists, all these people, their one tenet is no matter what, never admit fault. You can shoot a guy in the head and get it on video, and someone could go, look, you shot that guy. And they go, no, I didn't. And just never buckle. Look at Hillary Clinton. Look at all these people. You just never buckle. So how did your driver commit suicide with 4 bullets in the back of his head? He did. He committed suicide. Do you think that's possible? Yeah. So particle theory was created just because a vacuum can't have a wave in it. And these people are so dumb. They're literally dumb people. The fetishization of the elite, quote unquote, the fake elite by the truth community is really exhausting. I don't listen to any of those people anymore that talk about like, oh, the cabal, the elite, what are they planning? But it's like the people at the top of the pyramid are so dumb. They're literally dumb people. They just know some basics about like never admit fault and just repetition. It's just training animals. That's all they're doing. And so when you have the divine spark and accept that you're not an animal, it doesn't work on you.